A lot of my friends know that ever since I was a little kid, I have enjoyed collecting fossils and rocks and all that sort of thing. I have a large fossil collection now, and several years ago, my wife and I were traveling. We were driving through Arizona, and we saw a sign for the Petrified Forest. So we decided to stop, and as we drove through the Petrified Forest and looked at all the petrified wood, there was no one around. It was in the middle of winter, and it was cold, and there was petrified wood everywhere. There was petrified wood just scattered all over the place on the ground. There were big pieces and little pieces and tiny little chips and pieces half the size of a car. And as I started to look at this petrified wood, I started to feel extreme temptation. Extreme temptation is when you want to do what you know is wrong. Because as I looked at this petrified wood, there was also little signs up everywhere that said, please do not remove petrified wood from the park, and taking petrified wood is stealing. So I looked at this, and like I said, the petrified wood was just like dirt on the ground. It'd be like going out in the middle of a giant field in Iowa and having someone say, please do not take the dirt. It was everywhere. So while no one else was looking, I reached down and I took a piece of petrified wood about the size of a baseball, and I put it in my coat pocket. And my wife saw me do this, and she wasn't very happy at all. And then I saw another piece of petrified wood that I liked, and I reached down and I took it too. I stuck it in my coat pocket. And my wife said, "No, you shouldn't do that. It's stealing that." I said, "No, it's okay. There's lots of it." And I justified all kinds of things with it when I knew I was doing wrong. And so as we traveled on, we went up, and there was a place to stop and look at more petrified wood and that kind of stuff. And we went inside of this little building, and there was letters all over this one wall of people who had from people who had taken petrified wood and returned it. And every one of these letters said, I knew I shouldn't have done it. I don't know why I did it. I'm so sorry. I felt so guilty. Some of the letters said stuff like, back in 1940, we were traveling through, and I took this piece of petrified wood, and I felt guilty for the last 50 years, and so now I want to return it. But then one of the letters even said, I always felt guilty when I took this piece of petrified wood, especially when I lied to the park ranger on the way out and told him that I hadn't taken anything. Well, as soon as I saw that, I thought, this is not going to work. There's no way. I don't want to have to be a thief and a liar in the same day. And so I took my petrified wood, and I kind of chucked it back on the big pile of petrified wood and looked at that. The lesson I came away with from that was that we all have temptations, and hopefully we know ourselves well enough to know what our own weaknesses are, to know what our own temptations are. And there's certain things in life that we have to just stay away from. Maybe it's as simple as like the alcoholic that has to stay out of the bar. But for most of us, it's much more complicated than that. We have to understand ourselves. We have to realize that we are tempted by things, and we have to just stay away from situations that put us into great temptation. So because of that, I don't think I'll ever be going back to the petrified forest. What's your temptation? What is it that gets to you? Stay away from whatever it is that might put you into greatest temptation. Watch out for those things.